Hi guys, let's talk about your limbic system today, because whoever holds the power of your limbic system holds the power of your soul if you let it. Limbic system is the center of your brain, and that is where pretty much it controls the production of all your neurotransmitters as well as the hormones, which then impact your every single cell in your body, not to mention all the frequencies in your body. And so knowing a little bit about that and how it's controlling you, and those people who have control over it also control you, would be essential. Before going into that, I also like to say something about those people who have accused me of being too polite when I make my videos or my tweets, as well as too naive. And whatnot. I understand those comments, but sorry guys, this is the only way I can speak about the brain. Those of you who know me, that's what I do. I've pretty much dedicated most of my life since I was a kid studying the brain, even when I was working in tech full time. And so I can't, start cursing and being getting all angry when I talk about science. So if that's not your cup of tea, there are many other videos who do that. So I suggest you go there instead. Okay, so many people appear to be afraid of technologies in the future, like artificial intelligence and robots and mind control and things like that. Those fears are legit. I'm not negating that. But if you believe that something will come in the future to control your mind, you're dead wrong, because you're already being brainwashed and you're already being controlled. And that is because your limbic system basically regulates all of these emotions that you're feeling, and also a lot of belief that you have. And that then emanates to the rest of your brain. And so since you are born, you are being programmed, whether you like it or not. And as a result, you are being controlled and you are being brainwashed. And so the fear of the future should be the fear of now, and understanding how is it that you are being controlled as we speak and or manipulated as we speak. Think about it. When you are born, you are already coming with a full-fledged, beautiful, amazing brain that also is already emanating and functioning at the electrical level. It produces a lot of electricity, hence all the EMFs that is, and all the electrical signals that is being produced by not only your brain, but also your cells. Those have already been impacted since you were in the womb. And when you come out, then your job, or your brain's job, is to learn. And so as a result, you become this sort of entity that just craves for information, and you still probably do, and that's because your brain wants it. As a result, whatever you're being presented to as a kid, you learn and you become that person. And as a result, you are becoming a person that you would have not been had you been born to another family or another country. So think about it. Because of that, you are who you are. So your frequencies, the way your brain was shaped, essentially defines you today, if you have never, ever, ever questioned yourself. But if you have, then you have the capability and you do have the power to change that as soon as you realize it, which is pretty much every single person in this world comes to a point in their lives where they start questioning, like, who am I? Where am I going? And so if you hold on to those questions, you're able to answer those. It's sad to confess, but pretty much, if you think about it, wherever your mom existed on this earth when you were born, that becomes the definition of you. Think about it. If you were born in another time, another country, you would probably be a total different person. Your values and your thoughts would be very different than they are today. Your belief, the people you believe in, would differ a lot, and you would probably have a different type of fight that you're having today. If today you're fighting for America, you would fight for another country if you were in another place. And so very, very simplifying it that way, essentially wherever your mom existed in that moment in time and in that moment in space, it essentially defines who you are. But the beauty of it is that you have the control. If you let it, you can have that life forever if you've never questioned yourself. But you do have the power, you do have the control over your brain and over your body to question it. And so the question about being manipulated and being brainwashed and all that stuff that will happen in the future, it's already in you if you have never questioned yourself. So there are two ways in which you can take back the control of your life and of your value the moment you realize that your whole life and your whole belief system has been nothing but whatever the outside forced you to believe. The two ways in which you can do that is to, first of all, question yourself, and I mean question it deeply. And then the second one is question your surrounding, others' belief, or whatever information is presented to you from others. The first one is the hardest because the history shows we really don't want to do it because it hurts and it's painful, but it is as if it's the first step for you to go towards the second step. If you've never ever questioned your belief system, and I mean deeply, fundamentally, then it's gonna be your questioning others would be very much tainted based upon your already existing belief system that we already talked about how it comes about. So now let's go back to your limbic system. Essentially, your limbic system is right in the center of your brain. And in the center of your limbic system is something called amygdala. Amygdala is really, really tiny little piece of meat that is there, but it has a huge impact on the fear that you feel. Basically, they call it flight or whatever they call it, but you know what I mean, this action and reaction type of emotions that we have. And amygdala, although it's very, very tiny, it has a lot of power over you because whoever can poke into your amygdala can basically have you do or say whatever they want. And we see it today as we speak in the whole world. The main reason the amygdala has so much power over your life is because fear is the number one emotion that can be, once manipulated in the right way, can have people say or do whatever the manipulator wants. Because whether you like it or not, we are controlled by fear. And that is your amygdala. Because it has the power of emitting neurotransmitters and hormones that will pretty much impact whatever you do at that very moment, and as a result you may end up making a lot of decisions. That's why a lot of times we end up regretting those decisions in the future because it was based on fear. And every single government in the world, anytime in the world, knows it and they exploit it, and that's why they have power over you. And amygdala is the center of your limbic system, and the rest of your limbic system, hypothalamus and all that good stuff. Please read about it if you have time, because I don't want to make videos where the knowledge is already there. But there's a lot of emotions that are being manipulated through your limbic system, and that is center of your brain. And so for that reason, whoever has learned how to poke your limbic system will forever control you, and they will control what you say, what you think, what you do, no matter how free you think you are. As long as you do not have freedom and control over your own brain, over your own frequency, over your own cellular frequency, you are not free. Whoever you trust in this world, you are not free. Now, the good news is that you do have the control. It's not like you can be victimized. There's no one in this world who can be victimized. If you do not let it, the only power you have is power over your own brain, over your, over your brain frequencies, and also over your cellular frequencies as a result. That's one thing that nobody can take away from you, but you have to let it, and you have to question yourself. If you feel like you die hard and for something that you believe in, you need to question yourself. Where does that come from? Where did it start? Do I really, really believe it? Let me listen to these other people. Let me challenge my thoughts. Let me challenge my belief system. But unfortunately, most of the times we don't do it because it's just not fun and it's not easy. And we're just a little bit of an emotional addicts, if you will. We're addicted to emotions. We love it because it is really fun, to go through these roller coasters, as opposed to have a very peaceful life. It's pretty boring to have a peaceful life. That's why sometimes I feel like I'm pretty lame. But the beauty of it is that gradually, step by step, then we become such entities that we become less easy prey to be manipulated, and to also be controlled through information, because whoever controls your amygdala and your limbic system, and today they do it through information, whether right or false, the way in which they present it, they have control over you, and as a result they have control over your soul. And so that is very important to remember. So my message is, think for yourself while it's still legal. Because the more we move towards the future, the more you will feel threatened by the emerging technologies, by the changing of powers that be. Whoever you think is running this world will have potentially more and more power. And so thinking for yourself is a privilege. It's still legal. You're still able to express yourself, and you're still able to challenge yourself and think for yourself. Thinking for yourself is a freedom at this point in time that nobody can take away from you. And you have the power to do it. It's still legal. You can still express yourself, both within yourself and towards the world, without much ramification. But if the world moves forward as it's doing today, that might also be taken away from us. And so each and every one of us has the responsibility to do that. If you are diehard thinking of something, challenge your mind and think, do I really have the right data? Let me think critically about this. Who's funding this research? Who's saying this? If somebody's offensive to you, see where they're coming from, because we don't need more people who lash out at each other, who says F off to everybody, who's basically spreading all these fear that we are seeing today. What we need is more people to think for themselves while it's legal, and to be contagious with that power that they have. Because whether you believe it or not, you not only have power over your own thoughts and your own thinking process, but you also have power over everybody else around you, whether they live with you or whether they are across the continent. That is because the way you behave, the way you think, the way you show yourself that you can think critically, you also show others that, hey, it is possible. It is possible for me to think that, wow, I never thought about it. Let me think about it this way as well. And once we learn that, then it is less likely for somebody else to come and for them to own our soul. Because think about it, whether somebody owns our soul or not, we are the one who's giving them permission. If I go and die for somebody else's belief, at that point in time, I have actually given them the permission to control my soul. Whoever you think the most about, whoever you are the most emotional about, and let yourself get carried away, that person or that group, they own your soul. And I know it's hard to think that way, but it is true, because they own the way in which your amygdala, as well as your limbic system, produces these neurotransmitters and frequencies and all those good stuff. And so don't let it. You have the power. So at the end, I want to reiterate that thinking is still legal. Thinking for yourself, most and foremost, because just thinking is not enough. Thinking for yourself, thinking critically, it's very important. And we still have the freedom to do it. Many places in this world, people can't, because that's what they're being fed all the time, and they don't have the possibility to hear people out. And so we still have that privilege, and we still have that, and we need more people to do that. So think about it, and also check out your limbic system. And if you want to read about it, it's really interesting. Just search it online and you'll get tons of information around it. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful, and I see you guys next time. Bye.